Shalom, sister, shalom. Kohola Yahweh Ba'Shem, Hamashiach wa Malak Yahushai. All honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, sisters. We got another day to repent, to keep the commandments, to keep enduring, to keep exhorting one another through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Happy Feast of Dedication. I just wanted to come on here and to do a quick video for sisters. I've been meditating on, do sisters and do we have what it really takes as a nation to really be that Titus 2 woman? To be that Proverbs 31 woman, to be that elderly sister that Titus 2 speaks of. And I was meditating on how sisters, that's one of our main goals in this truth, is to be that Titus 2 woman, to be that elder sister that teaches the younger sisters. You know, sisters have to pray and ask the Lord, you know, to be an example, that you're an example so that you can be an example for the younger sisters that's coming into the truth. For the daughters that's being born into this truth. You know, we strive to be those examples. Now, being a Titus 2 woman, it doesn't come overnight. You know, I would never consider myself a Titus 2 woman, not just yet. Maybe when I get a little bit older through the Spirit, but I would never consider myself a Titus 2 woman. I would say that I'm striving to be a Titus 2 woman through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. But it's important that, you know, sisters ask the Most High to put the Spirit on them to have that, to be an example. And we need that. You know, I always tell y'all when I was first coming into the truth, I didn't have that. You know, I didn't have that example and I felt kind of alone. And I was searching and I'm searching and I'm searching. I'm trying to find sisters on Instagram, you know, that are in the truth. And I found one sister that sewed, you know, like I probably told y'all before, you know, I felt alone in my walk. And one of the things that I prayed for is that I asked the Most High to put the Spirit on me to be an example to sisters. You know, because I don't want sisters, I never wanted sisters to feel the way that I felt when I came into the truth. Like I didn't have anybody. You know, so, and sisters, y'all have to kind of think the same way. Like you want to be there for sisters. You want to be that sister that's there to bear one another's sisters' burdens, to help exhort sisters. That's how the nation of Israel, that's how we get built up through the Spirit so that we can get up out of this captivity. Okay? And you need that elder sister to really help you walk in this truth. I was trying to figure out, you know, I'm watching videos of, you know, ISUPK, GMS. I was watching all of these videos, but I'm like, where's the sister's perspective? Like, how am I supposed to be as a sister? How am I supposed to be a wife? I'm a new wife. You know, I just went through a situation. You know, I just had a miscarriage. I'm like, dang, how am I supposed to handle all of this? Where am I supposed to, what am I supposed to do? You know, who am I supposed to go to? And that's why it's important to ask the Lord to put an example, to put the Spirit on you to be an example so that you can be there for sisters. Okay? And this is Ecclesiasticus 7:19. Forgo not a wise and good woman, for her grace is above gold. So if you got an older sister in your congregation that has wisdom, if you have that older sister, don't forgo not that wise sister. Don't brush that sister off and act like, you know, she's not there and, oh, I can do everything on my own. That's what Israel do. We like to learn on our own. We like to make mistakes on our own. We don't like, a lot of our sisters and a lot of Israel, we're really proud. We don't know how to humble ourselves and go to the elderly woman and ask them for help. And, hey, how did you deal with this? And how did you deal with that? And how was it like when you had your baby that time? And, well, what did you learn from this experience? And what did you learn from that experience? You know, how should I handle my marriage in this way or that way, etc. A lot of us are really proud, so we don't know how to humble ourselves to go to the elderly sisters and ask for help. You don't want to forgo that wise and that good woman that's in your congregation. And I wish I had a wise and good woman, you know, that I could go to. So sisters, take advantage of the wise and good women in your congregation, whatever congregation that you're in. Take advantage of that sister. Ask that sister questions. Get to know that sister so you can be able to learn through that sister so that you don't make the same mistakes as that sister. You can learn how to deal with certain situations. You never know what you can learn. It's Ecclesiasticus 34:9. A man that hath traveled knoweth many things, and he that hath much experience will declare wisdom. That elderly sister, she's going to declare that wisdom that you need to help you progress through the truth so that you can be that Titus 2 woman. I wouldn't consider myself, I don't know if I just said it before, but I would never consider myself a full-blown Titus 2 woman. That's something that I'm striving to be. But if I'm going to be around an elder sister, the one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to be like how Yahushua was. I'm going to be listening and I'm going to be asking questions. And that's what sisters need to start doing. Don't forgo not a wise and good woman. Humble yourselves and really get to know elderly sisters and ask them the things that, you may be struggling with. And they may be able to be there to help you, Lord willing. And you also want to ask the Lord, like I said before, to put the Spirit on you to become that Titus 2 woman so that you can be there for sisters that's still coming up in this nation. These elderly sisters are not going to be here forever. Here today, gone tomorrow. And when I had maybe it was probably like my 4th year in the truth, I came across a sister named Hadassah. Rest in peace. The sister passed away. The sister was in the truth for 12 years. And this sister was an example to me. I might put a clip of her in here, but rest in peace to this sister. She was an example to me. This sister Hadassah, she was a very wise and beautiful Ephraimite sister. I saw her homeschooling her kids. I saw her teaching her kids Hebrew. And I said, oh, I'm trying to get like that. I'm trying to wake up and get like that. I'm trying to homeschool my kids like that. I'm trying to exhort sisters through the Spirit like that. I'm trying to be that elderly sister. This is the type of exhortation she did over social media, and it really impacted, myself and a lot of sisters. And I truly loved Hadassah. As an elderly sister, she was always there for me. We fasted together, we prayed together. She'll be like, let's fast another day. I'm like, I can't do that, sis. She was a great example to many of us in Israel. And unfortunately, she passed away. Sisters aren't going to be here forever. So you have to step up and really ask the Lord to put the Spirit on you to be that Titus 2 sister through the Spirit. And that comes with a lot of self-examination. That comes with a lot of fasting, a lot of prayer. But we're going to hop right into it. So we're going to go in and start with Titus 2. In verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given too much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. So, and then it also says, young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded. So as women in this truth, we exhort to be sober-minded. We exhort sisters to not follow the philosophies of this world, to not be given too much wine. That's what we exhort sisters to do, to continue in the faith and to teach the younger women, to be sober. That you're not out here getting drunk off of the philosophies of this world, off of Babylon like the other nations. You're not drinking, that abominable cup. You're not out here drinking wine all day. You're not getting drunk all day with your kids, in front of your kids, and your husband come home, you drunk. Everywhere you go, you drunk. We're supposed to teach women to be sober and to, love their husbands and how to love their children. You love your husband by what? Being submissive to your husband, by praying for your husband. You love your children by teaching your children the law, statutes, and commandments. Every day, all day. That's how we love our children. But we have to be in that behavior as becometh holiness, striving to be a Proverbs 31 woman and a Titus 2 woman. Meaning that you're being set apart from the world. That you're not sitting down, laughing and partaking in the things that you thought was funny when you was in the world. And that's 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So sisters, we're going to put away all those childish things and become those Titus 2 women. And we're going to carry ourselves with integrity. And we're going to think as elderly women. Not being easily offended, but thinking and acting as elderly women in its truth. Not being petty, not being childish, but being those elderly women that's wise, that's having wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that other sisters can go to in a time of need. Not being that false accuser, not being given too much wine and being the teachers of good things. And like I always say, what's good? Let's go to what's good. This is Romans 7 and 12. Wherefore the law is holy and the commandment is holy and just and good. So when you're being a teacher of good things, you're going to have that understanding of the law, statutes, and commandments. You cannot be a teacher of good things if you are not well studied in the law. So if you're striving to be that Titus 2 woman, you have to make sure that you're literally in the law and you are trying your best to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, because sisters are going to come to you with questions. Sisters are going to come to you with asking for counsel, and you are always going to have to go to the law at the end of the day. Every single counsel, every single situation, you are going to have to go to the law. Understand that. And that's 1 Peter 4 and 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Hamashiach Yahushai, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. So when you speak into a sister and you're giving that sister counsel and you're trying to help that sister through the Spirit, you're going to speak the oracles of the Lord. You're going to always speak the words of the Lord. It's the Spirit that speaketh, the flesh profiteth nothing at the end of the day. You're going to speak the Spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that the Lord in all things may be glorified through Hamashiach Yahushai, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. So when we speak in the words of the Lord, we're glorifying Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's why it's important to have an understanding when you are giving counsel. A sister could ask you, hey, I just had a baby, how long am I going to be unclean? Boom, Leviticus 12. Hey, my kid is acting up. What should I do? That's Sirach 30 and 12. Oh, I'm thinking about leaving my husband, sis, because 1 Corinthians 7 and 11. You're going to go to the scriptures because you're going to have that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So you have to make sure that you're apt to teach. Timothy 2:24 through 25. And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach and patient, in meekness instructing those that oppose themselves, if God peradventure will give them repentance to the knowledge of the truth. So as a servant, as a handmaid of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you have to be, gentle when you're going to the sister when you're giving her counsel. But you also have to be apt to teach, meaning that you have that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to help sisters, so that you're magnifying the Lord by speaking the words of the Lord, glorifying Him, so that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai can be praised at the end of the day. And you also have to be patient. Okay? So you have to be well studied in the law, not only for counsel, not for your own sake, and how you should move in your daily life, but for your children. If the Lord blesses you with children, your children need to be well studied in the law. You can't just wait around for your husband to teach your children the law, statutes, and commandments. You have to make sure that you have a good understanding of the law, statutes, and commandments so that your children have that understanding as well. A precept for that is Ecclesiasticus 6 and 37. Let thy mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, and meditate continually in his commandments, and he shall establish thy heart and give thee wisdom at thy own desire. So when your mind is upon the ordinance of the Lord, and that's what you meditating on, and you thinking about it all day long, the Lord is going to establish your mind, and he's going to give you wisdom at your own desire. I've seen sisters literally come into the truth, not really knowing anything, to having this great understanding of the precepts because they let their mind be on the ordinances of the Lord, and that's what they meditate on continually, daily. And you want to be that sister so that the Lord can bless you with that wisdom, so He can give you that wisdom at your own desire. That goes into being, an elder Titus 2 woman. Meditating continually on the law, statutes, and commandments. And the Lord blessing with that wisdom. 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy ways prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success in this truth. You'll have good success with the Lord blessing you with the husband if you don't have one, with children if you don't have one, with the business, whatever desires of your heart. If you want more knowledge and wisdom and understanding, then the Lord is going to make your ways prosperous. That's if you're observing to do all that is written in the scriptures. Now, this is 1 Timothy 5:5. Now, this is about widows, but at the end of the day, sisters, even if sisters are not widows, or even if sisters are single sisters, this is still how a Titus 2 woman should behave themselves. Especially if you're a single woman as well. This is 1 Timothy 5:5. Now she that is a widow indeed and desolate trusteth in God, and continueth in supplications and prayers day and night. A lot of sisters may not have a husband in this truth. And you need to trust in the Lord and continue in supplications and prayers night and day, and not be sitting down worried about why you're not married. That's not the mind frame of the Israelite woman. You're going to rejoice in the Lord, and you're going to serve the Lord until the Lord blesses you with a husband. All right? And continueth in supplications and prayers day and night. That's your main thing that you need to be doing, as if almost you were a widow. And that widow, it makes me think about Anna the prophetess. I've been meditating on Anna for some time now, and I've just been thinking about her. And we can go to the account. Luke chapter 2 and 36. And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of great age and had lived with her husband 7 years from her virginity. And she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers night and day. So Anna was a widow. She was a prophetess first and foremost. And she was a widow. She was an elderly sister. So she would be considered that Titus 2 sister. She's that sister that gave herself over to the Lord after her husband died. And she departed not from the temple. So she was in a temple night and day. Night and day. And she served the Lord with fastings and prayers night and day, like Judith. Judith fasted all the days of her widowhood, except for the new moons or the eves of the Sabbaths or the eves of the feast days. We can get that in a second as an example, as a precept. But I want sisters to really understand how powerful this is, that Anna did not depart from the temple. Her mind was stayed on the Lord. It kind of makes me a little emotional thinking about it, because, she could have got caught up in anything else. She could have got caught up in one another man. She could have got caught up, even though she was an elderly woman, she could have got caught up in the things of the world at that time. Anna could have been doing anything else. But the Lord had it to where Anna was an example, as a righteous example for us, so that we could learn from her. The scriptures was written aforetime for our learning, so that we can learn that, look, even if you are a single sister, or even if you are a widow, even being that married sister, this is still an example about not departing from the Lord. She didn't depart from the temple of the Lord, but she served the Most High with fastings and prayers day and night. And she coming in that instant gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. So she was always giving thanks. The water Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The water Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The water Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That's what Anna the prophetess was saying. And she spake of the Lord. She spoke of the Lord to everybody that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. She was having those holy conversations. All right, and it's Philippians 1:27. Only let your conversation be as it becometh the gospel of Hamashiach Yahushai, that whether I come and see you or else be absent, I may hear of your affairs, that ye may stand fast in one spirit, with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. And that's how it was for Anna the prophetess. She was having that conversation, being the gospel of Hamashiach Yahushai. That's why it really makes me think about Ecclesiastes 6:37. Let your mind be upon the ordinances of the Lord, like Anna the prophetess, and meditate continually in his commandments. And then he's going to establish your heart and give you that wisdom at your own desire. You can have that wisdom like Anna the prophetess. You can have that wisdom to be that Titus 2 sister. That's what we're all striving to be in this truth. That Titus 2 sister. It doesn't come overnight. You're going to fall, then you're going to get back up, like the scriptures say. But the point is that you have to keep striving, letting your mind be on the ordinances of the Lord. And that's what you need to be meditating on continually. Not meditating on the things of this world, but meditating on the laws and the ordinances of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So that we have that wisdom to move in these last days. That wisdom, that's the stability of our times. That's what's really going to hold us down through the spirit when things get hard out here. So, Lord forbid, but if we in a FEMA camp, or if we in a about to go through a guillotine, or if we being locked up in prison, that the Lord is, that we can be like Anna, and we telling people, hey, look, we Israelites, we're Israelites, but we have to go out for the Lord. And you want to be exhorting people until the day of your death. Like, sisters be thinking being in the truth is a game. Like, sisters think being in the truth is, oh, you just want to dance and you want to party, you want to go to feast days, and you want to get ready, you want to get dressed up. No, being in the truth is more than that. Being in the truth is not a fad. It's not a I want to be seen. I want people to know me. I want to be seen like this sister. Or I want to wear the best dress to the feast day. Oh, I want a baby. Oh, just so I could put him in some fringes. No, it's more than that. Sisters be mistaken being in the truth. They mix vanity with the truth. No, being in this truth is real life. Judith had it. Judith lived, which her life was a real life situation. She literally had to cut Holofernes' head off just so she could save Israel. You might be in a position where you might have to do something crazy to save your household. You might have to be like Anna, night and day, fasting and praying while you in a FEMA camp like Esther, pulling the hair out of your head, stuffing yourself with it, doing fastings and praying to the Lord, telling everybody that, look, you an Israelite. You know, the Lord is coming to save us. Shall he find faith on the earth? Being in the truth is not a game. And I just be picking that up from sisters, from people, just in general, that people be taking the truth for a joke. It's not. This is a life or death situation. So when you coming into the truth, understand that you're coming to serve the Lord with fear and trembling. You're not coming in to try to be the life of the party. You're not coming in to try to be the most known sister in Israel. You're not coming in to see who got the best dress on. You coming in to serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You coming in to set your life on the line for the Lord. You coming in to be that Titus 2 woman from the ancient world. That's what you coming in this truth to do. You coming in this truth so that you can teach your children the law, statutes, and commandments. So if you're in a position like the Maccabees' mother, your children already know what's good and what's about to go down. Understand that, sisters, being in this truth is not a game. It's not vanity. It's not, I want to have the best dress at Passover. Sisters got to put aside all of that weak nature and really remember what you're in this truth to do. You're in this truth to serve the Lord and let the law be the apple of your eye. You want to be that sister, that 1 Timothy 5:5, that you're trusting in God and that you're continuing in supplications and prayers night and day. This is what we strive to be. This is 1 Timothy 5:17. Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine. Anna was just one of the many sisters that labored in the word and doctrine. You also have Philip's 4 daughters in Acts 21:8-9. And the next day we were of Paul's company departed and came into Caesarea, and we entered into the house of Philip, the evangelist, which was one of the 7. And abode with him. So Philip, he was a part of the 12 apostles. He was rolling with Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right, and this is Acts 21:9. And the same man had 4 daughters, virgins, which did prophesy. So his daughters was out prophesying in the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. They was laboring in the word and doctrine. This is Romans 16, verse 1 and 2. I commend unto you Phoebe, our sister, which is a servant of the church, which is in Centuria, that ye receive her in the Lord as becometh saints, and that ye assist her in whatsoever business she hath need of you. For she hath been a securer of many, and of myself also. So Paul started off this chapter, this letter, talking about a sister that was laboring in the word and the doctrine. And he said, well, whatever this Phoebe, look, let me tell you something. Whatever Phoebe need, get it for her. Do it for her, because she been helping me out. She been helping everybody out. She been laboring in this truth with me. Whatever she need, look, get it for her. They had much respect for Phoebe. And that's the type of respect that sisters should strive to have, like Phoebe. Whatsoever anything anybody asks you, whatever you need from anybody, they're going to be like, boom, here it go. Because you're a well-respected sister. That's that Titus 2 woman. That Proverbs 31 woman that we're talking about. You want to be that elder sister that's counted worthy of double honor. And that it don't even got to be of double honor in this world by sisters getting that praise of men. Because at the end of the day, don't nobody opinion matter but the Lord. You want to be getting that praise like Esdras was praising Israel when Yahweh was putting crowns on their head. That's the double honor, and that's the praise that you're looking for in this truth. Your 2 Esdras 2:43-44. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? Also, like in 2 through 44 through 45. 43 through 44. He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of God. Now they are crowned and receive psalms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them psalms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. That's the type of praise that we want, that praise that Esdras had. For all those that stood boldly and stiffly for the name of the Lord. So I just want sisters to, meditate on being a Titus 2 woman and what it really takes, and the time and the dedication that it takes to be that type of woman. It takes a lot of practicing the fruits of the Spirit. It takes a lot of self-examination. It takes a lot of fasting. It takes a lot of prayer to be that Titus 2 woman. It's not an easy thing. But, it's nothing too hard for the Lord. On the site to make a poor man rich. It's not nothing too hard for the Lord to make us that are poor in the spirit, rich in the spirit at the end of the day. Ended off with our powerful sister Judith through the Spirit. So Judith was a widow in her house 3 years and 4 months. And she made her tent upon the top of her house, and put on sackcloth upon her loins, and wore her widow's apparel. And she fasted all the days of her widowhood, save the eves of the Sabbaths, and the eves of the new moons, and the new moons, and the feast and solemn days of the house of Israel. She was also of a goodly countenance, and very beautiful to behold. And her husband Manasseh had left her gold and silver, and manservants, and maidservants, and cattle, and lands, and she remained it upon them. And there was none that gave her an ill word, for she feared God greatly. Now when she heard the evil words of the people against the governor, that they fainted for lack of water, for Judith had heard of all these words that Ozias had spoken unto them, and that he had sworn to deliver the city unto the Syrians after 5 days, she sent her waiting women that had the government of all things that she had, to call Ozias and Shabaris and Sharmis, the ancients of the city. So in this Judith, this whole account right here is a lesson for sisters as well. Like Judith, everybody knew that Judith kind of got the love of the congregation, but it was just, she didn't have to do much. She was just being herself, and she was just, she was minding her own business. She was kind of studying to be quiet, fasting and praying to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But the main thing that I want to say is that nobody gave her an ill word because she feared God greatly. People had a high level of respect for Judith. And that's the same type of respect that sisters, Lord willing, will get over time, being that Titus 2 women. It's probably not going to be like the ancient world, because some sisters just don't have respect for one another, because we just lack that as a people now. But Lord willing, that, sisters will be respected as sisters, grow to be older in this truth. But the point of the matter is that in this situation with Judith, then she sent her waiting woman that had the government of all things that she had, to call Ozias and Shabaris and Sharmis, the ancients of the city. So she sent her handmaid to the ancients of the city. And they came unto her, and she said unto them, Hear me now, O ye governors of the inhabitants of Bethulah, for your words that ye have spoken before the people this day are not right, touching this oath which ye made and pronounced between God and you, and have promised to deliver the city to our enemies, unless within these days the Lord turn to help you. And now who are ye that have tempted God this day, and stand instead of God among the children of men? And now try the Lord Almighty, but ye shall never know a thing. For ye cannot find the depth of the heart of man, neither can ye perceive the things that he thinketh. Then how can ye search out God, that hath made all these things, and know his mind, or comprehend his purpose? Nay, my brethren, provoke not the Lord God to anger. For if he will not help us within these 5 days, he hath power to defend us when he will, even every day, or to destroy us before our enemies. Do not bind the counsels of the Lord our God, for God is not a man that he may be threatened, neither is he the son of man that he should be wavering. Therefore let us wait for salvation of him, and call upon him to help us, and he will hear our voice, if it please him. For there arose none in our age, neither is there any now in these days, neither tribe, nor family, nor people, nor city among us, which worship gods made with hands, as hath been aforetime. For the which cause our fathers were given to the sword, and for a spoil, and had a great fall before our enemies. But we know none other God, therefore we trust that he will not despise us, nor any of our nation. For if we be taken so, all Judea shall lie waste, and our sanctuary shall be spoiled, and he will require the profanation thereof at our mouth, and the slaughter of our brethren, and the captivity of the country, and the desolation of our inheritance will turn upon our heads among the Gentiles, wheresoever we shall be in bondage, and we shall be an offense and a reproach to all them that possess us. For our servitude shall not be directed to favor, but the Lord our God shall turn it to dishonor. Now therefore, O brethren, let us show an example to our brethren, because their hearts depend on us, and the sanctuary, and the house, and the altar rest upon us. Moreover, let us give thanks unto the Lord our God, which trieth us, even as he did our fathers, remembering what things he did to Abraham, and how he tried Isaac, and what happened to Jacob in Mesopotamia of Syria, when he kept the sheep of Laban his mother's brother. For he had not tried us in the fire as he did them, for the examination of their hearts, neither hath he taken vengeance on us, but the Lord doth scourge them that come near unto him to admonish them. Then said Ozias to her, All that thou hast spoken with a good heart, and there is none that may gainsay thy words. For this is not the first day wherein thy wisdom is made manifested, but from the beginning of thy days of thy people have known thy understanding, because the disposition of thy heart is good. So, I guess I can finish it. But the people were very thirsty, and compelled us to do unto them as we have spoken, and to bring an oath upon ourselves which we will not break. Therefore now pray thou for us, because thou art a godly woman, and the Lord will send us rain to fill our cisterns, and we shall faint no more. Then said Judith unto them, Hear me, and I will do a thing, which shall go throughout all generations to the children of our nation. Ye shall stand this night in the gate, and I will go forth with my waiting woman, and within the days that ye have promised to deliver the city to our enemies, the Lord will visit Israel by my hand. Pretty much, y'all, I can't believe I just read that whole thing, but I was kind of in the spirit when I read that, and I'm just reading it, and I love this account, and this is an example for sisters that you have to have, being that Titus 2 woman, having that good name where nobody can really say an ill thing against you. Of course, it's, it might be a little harder in today's society, because in Israel, because you're going to have people, you might have people scoff against you, etc. But during that time, this is such an important account, because everybody knew that Judith was wise based off of her actions. Everybody knew the type of woman that she was, to the point where they respected, the elders respected her. Sisters might be in a position where you could be in a life or death situation like Judith was, and you like, wait a minute, this not right. But you could be like, they're not going to hear me out. Judith went about it with grace. She told them, she said, hey, you know what, this isn't right. This isn't right. You kind of trying to tell the Lord what he going to do. We can't be like that. And this is a great example for sisters, because you might be in a position where you see something that's going on and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't right. But in order for you to speak as a woman, you have to be respected. People have to take you seriously. People have to understand that you are a woman that fears the Most High. Colossians 4:6, let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. And that's what Judith did. Her grace was seasoned with salt so that she was able to speak to the elders where they could hear her out. You know, she didn't come at them as, you know, being a nigga woman. Like, I can't believe y'all had the audacity. That's what she said, kinda, but she said it lightly, and it was seasoned with salt. Like, y'all had the audacity to tell Israel what the Lord was going to do within this amount of time. Like, she could have came with a whole different attitude. And a part of being a Titus 2 woman is letting your speech be seasoned with salt. That you know how to talk to people and that you know how to answer every man. Ecclesiastes 3:7. A time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. And Judith knew that it was a time to speak up and say something. She has the understanding that she shouldn't usurp authority over a man, but the woman to be silent in church. She knew those things, but it's a time for everything. And the Lord put it on her spirit to say something, you know, so that the elders hearkened to what she said. You know, imagine if she didn't say anything at all. You know, Israel would have been dead. So sisters got to understand when to move in this truth, you know, being a Titus 2 woman, when it's a time to keep silence and when it's a time to speak. You know, before you speak as a Titus 2 woman, you want to meditate on what you're about to say out of your mouth. And you want to pray on it. And I'm sure that's what Judith did. They knew that Judith feared the Lord. But no brothers and no sisters is going to take sisters seriously if they out here thinking that the truth is a game. Because you might be in a life or death situation like Judith, and ain't nobody going to want to hear nothing that you got to say. You might be in a position like Judith was. You want to be that Titus 2 sister that sisters take seriously. Especially when it comes down to serious situations, you want to be a well-respected sister. You want to be well-respected in your home, that your children and your husband call you blessed. You want to be well-respected in your congregation. You want to be an overall well-respected sister like Judith, like Anna the prophetess. Giving your life over to the Lord, not departing from the temple, but giving yourself into fasting and to praying. And letting your mind be on the ordinances of the Lord so that the Lord can give you that wisdom. So if you are in a position like Judith, that you're able to judge like her or Deborah. So, you know, being in this truth is serious, and sisters really got to strive to be that Titus 2 sister. Beginning in these last days, things are going to keep heating up, and you have to prepare your hearts for what's to come. And be like Anna the prophetess, and don't depart from the temple. Don't depart from the Lord, but give yourself into fasting and praying and asking the Lord for more knowledge and wisdom and understanding on how you can build yourself up through the Spirit. Because you never know who you're going to have to build up through the Spirit in these last days. As you can see, the elders of the city, you know, they kind of got faint-hearted. They kind of got a little bit, they was like, dang, well, we got to do this because people, you know, they thirsty. They kind of lacked a little bit of trust in the Lord. And our people are going to be like that. And you want to be that sister that's going to be there to exhort sisters and even brothers if you have to, Salakia, to do the right thing. To stand up for the Lord. To go out for the Lord. Okay? And with that being said, sisters, I hope this was a good video. And I just pray and that sisters really, you know, continue to endure through the Spirit, understand that being in this truth is not a game, and that you need to continue to hold it down for Yahweh Shem Yahushai, so that you found blameless to get out of here, so that you can get that crown that Edris saw Yahushai given to Israel. All right? And with that being said, sister, shalom. Love y'all.